He's missed a few.
Yes, well, I know he's been pretty busy at work, from what I hear.
Good morning, everyone. It is 8:31. We do not have a quorum yet, but I think we could probably get started with some of the
We can.
things. I don't know, or do we have to wait for the
Kind of
quorum?
have to wait, don't we?
Yes.
It's my
Okay.
opinion that we have to wait.
Okay, so if you're
But I don't know everything.
If you're watching or listening in, because I know a few people are listening in, we're just going to be pausing until we get 2 more members to come to the meeting.
One more, and technically we have quorum, so not technically.
2. We only have 3.
Oh, we've got
4.
4. Yep, so we need 1 more for quorum.
Yeah. I forgot to circle the
Yeah, and then when you speak, we'll have you come up here and then turn on the microphone so we can hear you.
Are you Rebecca? Yeah, okay. Yeah, and it would be good if you would talk. You testified at the public hearing, right? Just give us a little update about that. Thanks.
And Buzz
Cold in
Sorgi
here.
did reach out to me. He won't be at this meeting. He is predisposed.
He's he's having
He's
fun.
hunting.
He's on vacation.
He's on vacation.
So long, I can't wait to hear what he's got to say next time.
Oh, that's right. He went to, oh.
Brian, are you the representative from DSM?
Yes, Kevin and myself are here.
Okay,
representing
thanks.
Just one person we need or 2?
One.
One.
We are still waiting for 1 more person to meet our quorum, but it is 8:35. So I will call the meeting to actually the September PTED Committee meeting today on August 31st because of Labor Day issues next week. So I'll call the meeting to order, and I can certify that the open meeting law requirements have been met. Item number 3 is roll call of committee members. So I'm Beth Killian, supervisor number 7, and the chair of the committee.
I'm Jeannie Nutter. I represent District 15, vice chair of the committee.
Dan Schreiner, Supervisor, District 13.
Michelle Haynes, District 9.
So we have an 18-item agenda, but we can't adopt it at this time. And we have number 5, approval of the minutes, which we can't do at this time, so we'll skip through that. We do have, I know of at least 2 people that have public comments. So if you're calling in, I'll open the public comment period, at 8:36. And you can call in at 715-538-1770. So I think Becky or Rebecca had asked to speak first. So if you want to come up to the podium and give us your thoughts and presentation.
All right, do I turn this?
Yep, red.
Okay, all right. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having us today. My name is Becky Scholze. I'm from Humbird, which is in Jackson County, and I'm the founder of Unchained Wisconsin. I've been an advocate for chained dogs for the past 15 years, and I've been a witness to their suffering and to the sheer neglect. And I'm here today with Anne, who in the packet, if you guys want to look at the pictures, Anne actually lives next door to all of these dogs. I think there's about, is there 12 of them there, maybe? And these dogs have been permanently chained for many, many years. So today we're asking for better shelter laws and a ban on permanent chaining here in Trempealeau County. And do you guys want me to talk about, like,
Whatever you want to.
okay. We are looking for shelter to be windproof and waterproof. Too many times dogs fall under the state law where the areas are really gray, and sometimes a tree can constitute a shelter. So I want to make sure that shelter is completely windproof and waterproof for them, so they have protections throughout any elements. And again, shade is also a big thing, whether it be natural or artificial. We're looking that single-coated dogs can't be outside when it gets below freezing. That's another big issue with chained dogs is, you know, some dogs can handle it, other dogs can't, but they're left out there no matter what the temperatures. And we're also looking for a ban on tethering, so it's not a means of permanent confinement. If a dog is tethered for, you know, maybe while the owner's at work, or I don't know, to go to the bathroom or just hang out outside. If the dog is a runner maybe, and they, you know, want to make sure that the dog still gets fresh air, but they're going to chain them. We just don't want it to be a means of permanent confinement, because so many people will put a dog on a chain and that is where it lives the entire life, and it never gets any social interaction or anything like that. So that's what we're looking for. I'd like Anne to talk a little bit more to what she sees on this property and how it makes her feel, because she is part of the, I'm from Jackson, so I want to make sure that she gets her words in for Trempealeau. And Jeannie, did you want me to talk about the hearing in Madison?
Yeah, and the pending legislation and what that's about.
Yep.
You did speak at the public hearing, which was last week?
It was, yep, last Tuesday.
Okay.
So
And I couldn't be there, I was
Yep,
gone.
so there are a few people in Wisconsin trying to make animal abuse a felony in Wisconsin. Right now, it's just, most people get charged with mistreatment or cruelty, so we're trying to make it a felony. So I went to the hearing. I spoke about 2 dogs who, from different counties, who had been starved by their owners. The bill came about because a man in Marshfield had actually had a litter of 8 puppies, and when they were a couple hours old, he'd put them in a dumpster. And this was in December, and somebody had found them and rescued them. But so that's where that's at. The committee is going to decide if they're going to go forward with that. So we're not sure yet, but. All right. Does anyone have any questions or?
Ask questions during public
Okay.
comment, correct?
Correct.
So,
Okay. All right. Well,
if we do, we know how to find, you know, if you just
Perfect.
leave your contact information for
Will do.
everybody in
All
case
right.
there are, that would
All
be
right.
good. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
My name is Ann Torgerson, and I'm going to read this off, otherwise I might get off the beaten path and I could go on for a long time, so just please bear with me. I'm Ann Torgerson, and I'm here today with Becky, and I'm here to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves, the chained dogs. This situation sadly happens across the country and more often than we know. I'm sharing my personal experience because I have a neighbor who has many dogs on chains. The amount of these dogs can be anywhere from 10 to 20, and it's been going on for at least 20 years. These dogs are chained all day, every day, and over the years, a person has lived there on and off, but for some time, it's just the dogs. We hear the dogs barking while we're outside. If we're in the garden, they hear us talking, they start barking. And while we're in our house, rain or shine, possible temperatures of -20 or 80 to 100 degrees outside, these dogs are separated from each other on their chains with ramshackle dog houses in all these seasons. There is no social interaction with their owner or each other. Someone shows up for minutes to feed the dogs. Their water could freeze in the winter in sub-zero temps. In the summer, they could become dehydrated if their water bowl tips over. And the dogs can sit there for 8 to 10 hours with no water. These animals could suffer a medical emergency, could strangle from the chain, or be attacked by an animal, and no one is there to help them. We have a 9-year-old neutered and vaccinated dog. Because sometimes the neighbor dogs break free, escape their chained life, they can show up at our house. We do not leave our dog outside alone because if one of the dogs shows up, we fear there might be a fight or they might take off down the road. We have neighbors up the road who are 86 to 93 years old, and they are afraid to be outside if the dogs show up because they don't know what would happen. I have contacted Trempealeau County Sheriff's Office Department when they have showed up. The officers stated as long as the owner has vaccinations, up-to-date, license, shelter, and food and water, even if the situation over there is disgusting, there's nothing they can do. I have called, written letters, and shared photos to several county board members, the Humane Society, Town of Petrik board members, and to Becky. If dog owners have their vaccinations up to date and have a kennel license, shouldn't there be some checklist or rules or guidelines to follow and to be checked in on? But evidently there isn't. If they pay the $35 for the kennel fee, that's that. I know these chained dogs, puppy mills, and mistreatment of animals happens everywhere, sadly. We are here today to ask you, our Trempealeau County Board, to help to do something to help these dogs in our county and perhaps to get other counties to open their eyes and hearts and pass laws and regulations in this matter to unchain these animals. And that's my statement.
Thank you for your comments and again for the information. I did do some checking because in our Wisconsin Counties Association magazine for August, there was an article about the humane officers and the training that's coming up. So I did check with Mr. Severson about that, and Trempealeau County does have a humane officer with the Sheriff's Department. According to the article, the humane officer is the one that has the enforcement duties. So Trempealeau County does. And then I've also learned that the Trempealeau County Humane Society is not connected with Trempealeau County government, which I didn't know. I thought maybe they were somehow connected. So I did learn a few things. So thank you for bringing this to our attention.
And Beth, I think, did you want to add that to change policy per se, to change ordinance, right, it really couldn't come from this committee per se. It probably would have to go through Law Enforcement Emergency Management Committee. Dan, I'm probably right on that. Not to get into a discussion on this too much, but really wouldn't be for, we couldn't change ordinance per se through this committee to take it onto the county board, correct?
I'm not entirely sure about the policy or the procedure, but law enforcement and emergency management would probably be a better place to start.
thank you for that advice. So Becky and Ann, I will kind of forward this on to that committee because they probably have more experience with it, but we're not going to let it die.
And since you know how to get a hold of me, if you have questions or any more information, just, contact me and I'll forward all the information. Okay?
Yep.
Thanks so
Thank
much
you
for
for
coming
coming.
today. You too.
We do have a quorum because Mr. Felsis has arrived, but before we go back up, I don't want the other two people sitting and waiting for public comments. Pardon?
Can we be introduced to the deal?
That comes right after public comments. So.
Oh, yeah, I should have.
Yeah. So if Kevin and Brian representing DSM and themselves, if you want to tell us what you're thinking?
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for giving us a chance to speak. Yeah, Kevin is one of our lead maintenance technicians. I'm the site manager here at DSM. We are a small plant in Arcadia. We're a nutritional product plant. We make powders that go into various food companies' final products. But we're specifically interested in Petrik's Park here in Arcadia or near Arcadia. Kevin's had some ideas here for us being involved in some improvement initiatives there. So it's more just, I guess, an offering of being a partner with your team and what type of improvements are going to be at Petrik's Park. We want to see it as one of the best parks in the area. We have a lot of things we can offer as far as personnel with different skill sets. And one of the main skill sets is they're very motivated. I think employees use the park. We're actually going to use the park for our site day for our plant. We got roughly around 40 people. So just just getting our name out there and just whatever improvement things can be thought of. We were a pair of hands, brainstorm with the team. But we just want to improve it for the community. It's mainly our vision. Yes. Anything to add, Kevin?
Yeah, and I just want to say I approached Brian with this, and a lot of us do use Petrik's Park, and we enjoy it, and it's good to see what people put into it over the years to see it grow, and I think what we're offering here is we're just making an introduction, and we want to be a part of that. I think make it better. What can we do to help? What can we do to enact the vision that you guys have too? So I guess this is more of an introduction.
Thank you. And I think I had told Kevin that Reed is our main parks contact person. So I don't know, Reed, do you want to give them some information on how to contact you or whatever?
Sure, you bet. Brian and Kevin, thanks for commenting here today. Do you want me just to touch base with you guys maybe later on today or after the meeting? Can I just give you, what's the best way for me to reach out to you guys?
Yeah, Brian, we're both at work. Maybe you could give us a call after the meeting. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I don't know if your chat works. We could put our contact information in the chat here. If that is actual functional or if that's a good place.
Okay, yeah, I assume it would work.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll put that info in there. We'll get you the info and if you want to call.
Okay, sounds good. Otherwise, I can just probably call up there and just ask to speak with one of you two.
Yep.
Well, that's a good idea too.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. I'll be in touch with you guys later on today.
Okay.
Thank you for calling in. Really appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you. I'm going to ask a second time if there are any other people that want to make public comments, 715-538-1770. I'm really pleased that we have public comments because usually we sit here and wait and it's silent.
I'm pleased we have a quorum. Thank you.
Oh.
You're not the only one.
And I'll call for the third time for public comment, 715-538-1770. So then, hearing no further comments, I'll close the public comments at 8:51. And we will move back up to adopting our 18-item agenda. If someone would like to.
I make the motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
So Jeannie has made a motion to approve, and Joe second. Any changes to the agenda, other than we kind of went ahead anyway? All those in favor of approving the agenda say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I didn't hear Michelle's voice. Can you hear us?
Could hear her earlier.
Yeah. Michelle? I see her name on the screen.
She's probably on mute.
Could be. So item number 5, we have the minutes from our August 3rd meeting sent to us. We need a motion to approve those. Joe,
Second.
and second, Dan. Any comments, questions on the minutes, other than Becky does a fantastic job? All those in favor of approving the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So now we have our new DLM director. So who's going to officially introduce him, or is he just, Mike's going to introduce himself?
I'll just introduce myself. Hey, it's great to be here today with the Parks, Tourism, and Economic Development Committee. It's an area of my work and past work experience that's dear to my heart. I really love being involved in this area of county government, and so it's great to be here, and look forward to meeting with everyone on the committee. Just a little background. I spent most of my career up in Burnett County with the UW Extension Office and some time in the Land Use Office up there, and then I've spent some time as a village administrator as well. So I've worn a lot of hats, and it's been a great experience. I hope to bring that to Trempealeau County and do some good work serving the people of Trempealeau.
Welcome.
Thank you for being here. Did Jean give you anything, Rob, about the Wisconsin Great River Road update?
I reached out. She did not have a formal report. Oh, sorry. She did not have a formal report. Just they did wrap up the oh gosh, sorry. Yeah, thank you. The All-American Road events that they did all up and down the Great River Road, and they were a real success. I know they got both good attendance and a lot of good media coverage as well. And if you recall, a number of us were down at the one that they had at the Tremplo Hotel, which was a lot of fun, a real success, and we got some good local coverage of that event too. So I do know later in my update I'll be talking about some tourism grant opportunities, and I know they'll be pursuing those grant opportunities as well. So I'm thinking there might be some collaboration opportunities there too. So other than that, no formal report. Jean will be back for our meetings starting with our next one. So.
Jean is going to be at our September County Board meeting because really the focus of the event at the Tremplo Hotel was to acknowledge Tremplo County, and John Austin was there and gave a short and sweet speech. It was very cute. And we received a plaque, which is upstairs, and I believe it's in his office. So, yeah, it was great to be there. It was about 150 degrees down there that day. Yeah, it's quite an amazing, it's the only Great American Road in the state of Wisconsin. So it's pretty cool that we're a part of it. And that group really worked their tails off to make it happen. So it's a great thing. Now's the perfect time to take the River Road Drive.
Yes. Or in the next month or so when we have pretty colors. Don't tell me that. Item 9 is the ARPA monies for Park Tourism Economic Development discussion.
Well, not a huge update on this, frankly. You know, Reed and I keep discussing ideas both for the park and both for, you know, economic development and tourism initiatives. As, you know, we had our last meeting at Petrik Park, and as I kind of reported then, at the Exec Finance Committee meeting that they had in, I suppose it must have been, when was our last meeting? August 3rd. In the Exec Finance Committee meeting before that, so it must have been their July Exec Finance, there was some discussion, and I thought some action taken to set up a committee that would basically be a study committee on where these monies could possibly be allocated, where was the need, that sort of thing. Bringing in the professionals that work within the courthouse, but also bringing in other folks from around the county, including some county board members, to do that. I don't know what happened with that, frankly. It sounds like it kind of got derailed a little bit. I don't know the background. I don't know the politics of it a little bit. But so as of right now, I mean, we're still preparing ourselves to be able to put forth, you know, ideas on where we think these monies could be really effective. But I guess what it will boil down to is kind of what the county board decides and what the process will be. You know, obviously you have until 2024 to spend all the monies, but there's requirements on reporting much earlier than that. I'll be frank, and I said this at Exec Finance, and I'd say it to anyone that asks. There seems to be some discussion that one idea is get the money into the general fund, then you take off the ARPA restrictions, then you can spend it on whatever you want. Of course, I think there's many of us that see this money as being really a once-in-a-generation infusion of possibility into the county, and I think a lot of us are hoping that these monies will go towards things that really what they're intended for, you know, dealing with the effects and the larger effects of the pandemic, and you know, helping build up that infrastructure, both physical and you know, the human infrastructure of our county. So my hope is that, you know, the political actors, frankly, the you know, county board members, the folks that have the ability to make those decisions will, you know, go towards the idea that we should maybe not just pull these monies and use them for general fund activities, but maybe we really need to be thinking really creatively outside the box on where are some things we've never had the ability to fund before, but they're really important for us here in the county. So so that's really the report. I felt pretty confident at our last meeting that we had kind of moved somewhere, but I guess at this point, I think there's still a lot of discussion to be had. So that's all I can offer. Some of you might be able to offer more, because again, you're. Well, it's 5.7 million, maybe just under that 5.6 something. That it comes in 2 installments. The first installment, I think, is already here.
We already have it. Yeah,
yep.
We already have 2.6 million or whatever. It's in an interest-bearing account, according to Paul.
I think part of the problem is, and you mentioned it, Rob, we have until 2024 to spend this money, and people are kind of have things in neutral because, hey, we got time. But this is, I think, an excellent opportunity to be able to invest in proactive areas where we might never, ever be able to do that without this injection of economy, so to speak. This is going to be difficult because as we get closer to the deadline, you know, the mud wrestling's going to start because each department feels, and rightfully so, mine is the department, we should take priority, this is the money we need, and it's not going to be easy to do the prioritization countywide, or building-wide. So I, for one, think we should have started already.
I know that I spoke with a county board member in Eau Claire County, and they actually are already making decisions about how to use that money, and they've formed and I know broadband is next, but they have formed a broadband work group, and the person I talked to is the chair of that committee, and they're looking at spending considerable, Eau Claire got way more money than we did, obviously, because it's a larger area, but they're really focusing on getting service to the people in Eau Claire County, which we need to do in Trempealeau County as well. And I would hope that we could move forward with using some of that money for broadband, because although I don't know what's in the infrastructure bill, that's supposed to be approved by the House soon, and I know there's a lot of money in that for broadband and other infrastructure projects. But yeah, we need to, you're right, maybe, when's the next exec finance? Is that next Monday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay.
Yep. I think that was one of the reasons we moved our meeting back to this week.
Okay.
And I should mention, I did speak at the public comment at that last exec, or 2 exec finance committees before. I'm sure as county board members or other citizens out there, if you're watching, if you could also go and do that, and maybe it would just help with that process. So.
Anything else? Reed, do you have anything more to add?
I don't.
Okay. So then let's move right on into the broadband work group.
So I've been in communication with Buck Webb of Tri-County Communications out of Strum. Actually, I was just up there yesterday, and we had a very long and intensive conversation on what is the best route to go to really help bring in some of these dollars. And the most important thing that I see is that especially looking at townships, because there are some townships that have most of their citizens would probably say, yeah, we're considerably happy with our internet service at this time and what we have. There are some townships that are not in that place, or they have a piece of their township which has really good access. So the biggest thing I think we can do is work with townships to help put plans together. Because a lot of these grants, as they come in, it's you can't see the grant announcement and then say, oh, okay, now we're going to start planning on this to put in an application. The most successful grants already have these plans sort of in place. So talking with Buck and also talking just a little bit with Tim Robertson as well, who of course is our IT director, and I believe he also serves on the Blair City Council and is involved, is reaching out to townships where there is an appetite for this. And that sounds like, well, everyone's got an appetite for it, but an appetite to also put some skin in the game financially. The problem with some of these grants, though, too, is not the problem, but challenge is that sometimes there's a 50-50 match on them. TCC, let's say, would put in 50%, or Century Link would put in 50%, but then the municipality might have to come up with that as well. Some creative ideas that some places have done to finance that. Was it the town of Drummond out of Buffalo County? I don't want to misquote that, but they did a referendum in their township, for example, adding on, I think, $20 a year onto their property tax bill to help come up with the township piece of that. Of course, the townships are getting these ARPA monies as well, so money could go towards that too, to help put the skin in the game for a percent of that grant. So I think going forward, there's been some townships that have specifically reached out that want to work with the county, and talking with Buck. I think what we're going to do is again, work with these counties work with these townships that want to kind of pursue after some of these grants, and start putting some plans together so that when these monies come out, they have these, I guess, for lack of a better word, shovel-ready plans for what they would do, how the breakdown of the financing would work, that sort of thing. These are numbers you've probably heard before, but for every mile of fiber to put in, TCC, for example, estimates that costs about $50,000, right? So, that's a real expense. TCC themselves, they're often willing to put in what they're willing to spend per house to get fiber to is like $2,500, right? So that money has to come from somewhere. There has to be it has to be in areas where there's enough homes to make it worthwhile as well. And in some townships, there is that. Others, you know, you can go 2 miles, Town Arcadia being a good one, you can go 2 miles and, you know, there's 1 home there, or 2 homes, something like that. So how do we move forward? I mean, I think, you know, working specifically with townships, and I see myself as someone that can, TCC is very much willing to work, you know, with townships to put plans together, to kind of, again, have those grants, to have the plan ready to apply for the grant. So that's kind of where we're at with that. There was, I believe it's $185 million put into the new biennium budget that was passed. That'll be released through the Public Service Commission for more broadband expansion, right? So that's different than the ARPA grants or the ARPA money that's been coming in. That's different than this infrastructure bill, that sort of thing. And what basically in our conversations, applications for those monies probably won't open up until late winter, early spring. There's a lot of backup at the PSC right now, apparently, just even getting through these ARPA grant monies, so that's the estimated window. So, you know, I think working with townships so that come late winter, early spring, those that really are interested in putting some money into it have a plan in place on whether it's township-wide or is a part of their township, that sort of thing, and what the money breakdown would be is going to be really important. So that's where I see a focus for myself in the months ahead coming to, is trying to, you know, 'cause I won't write those plans, but what I can be as a facilitator to bring in, you know, the technical folks that can to work with the townships and then figure out the split. The question will come, will Trempealeau County want to put skin in the game too? Because they could say, we'll take a chunk of this ARPA money and we'll also put some money towards, you know, helping a certain township, you know, apply for these grant monies, then in conjunction with the service provider. And right now, I can't tell municipalities that we're going to be doing that, because I don't know what the process will be, or, you know, if we'll have those monies available. So I know there's a lot in that, but yeah, that's kind of where I stand with it right now. So
Eau Claire County is working with TCC to do some of their.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you Don's name. He's the chair of the Broadband Committee. I'll give you his contact.
Yeah.
I would suggest too that between you and Buck, you know, either separately or together, to actually contact each township and get on the agenda, because everybody meets, well, Arcadia meets twice a month, but everybody else meets once a month, to start now to get on their agenda to tell them exactly the same thing you just told us, so that, you know, if they're interested, they know who to contact.
And, you know, I did get to the last Towns Association meeting. Now, we didn't have as much information then as we do now, and I know Buck was at that as well. But, you know, my plan is, and I think the next Towns Association meeting is in October, to be at that and at least get the ball rolling there as well. So, yeah.
Anything else on broadband? So now the Trempealeau County Outdoor Recreation Plan update.
And Beth, one more thing to add with that. They did, I'd forgotten about this, TCC did receive a small grant. They did apply for and I forget exactly where it was, in the township of Arcadia. So they were successful in doing a small project in the town of Arcadia. I think maybe kind of near you, but I can get you more information on that. So anyway. All right. So outdoor rec plan update. So as of yesterday morning, we are at 72 folks that have taken the survey. And actually, that's it right now. We've got a few more that have come in paper-wise. I don't believe that they've received any paper at the Mississippi River Regional Planning Commission yet. You know, one thing that we did do, and it's being shared on TCC right now, we did make a little promotional video as well that we're sharing via both our social media and the TV station, getting it out there. You know, I'm going to follow, so we sent out a formal request for all of the municipalities in Trempealeau County, you know, to both fill it out and have their membership fill it out, and also to, because, you know, obviously a big piece of what we're doing is getting those projects that the townships and the cities and villages want to work on into the plan. So basically what I'm planning to do is follow up specifically, have a conversation specifically, you know, with every one of our municipalities in the county, whether it's the hope is that they will get the survey filled out with their plans, but also to specifically have those conversations. And I have had quite a few with a number of municipalities, but to make sure that, you know, we've got every project that they're kind of looking at, considering even for the next 5 years, at least written in there in some way, so that it sets them up the best way they can for you know, grant eligibility and that sort of thing. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Still pounding away on it. I think soon, you know, we've got our subcommittee of Buzz and Jean, and you know, I think we'll meet again soon and have a conversation with Abby and kind of go from there. So
could, because it only takes like 5 minutes to fill out that survey, could the internet providers that we have in Trempealeau County, could they put it on their website so people, you know, like TCC could put it on their website, and other providers, so that if people go to their website to whatever, it's there, you know, fill this out. I mean, I don't know how to get it to the masses, but it only takes 5 minutes, and it's very simple to fill out.
You're right, and you know, I've been pushing it to the chambers and specific businesses as well. We're obviously our rod and gun clubs, you know, are incredibly important to the work we do for tourism here in Trempealeau County. So, you know, I've been kind of pushing those folks as well to you know, do it and have your membership do it as well. So. Yeah, you know, any suggestions, any avenue to help get more people do it, including, frankly, you know, yourselves, if you've, you know, every one of you is deeply involved in the community that you represent. If you got 5 people you know haven't done it, you know, Joe, I know you're on the Arcadia City Council, maybe, you know, encourage your other city council members. I know all of you are involved in different ways in your community. Pull some folks in that you know, and really encourage them to get the survey filled out, so.
Yeah, maybe the extension can help with getting the word out somehow, but it doesn't take much to fill it out. And it's really important, you know?
Yeah.
It's good to know what the people want for outdoor activities and
yeah, I mean, it helps obviously both set our priorities for the next 5 years and, you know, make us more attractive when we're applying for those monies out there, because it shows we've thought about it, you know? And the more stakeholders we can get in to give their thoughts, it just shows that we really didn't just, you know, throw something together, yeah, so.
Can you put it on Facebook?
Yep, we've shared it on there, and we're gonna keep sharing it.
hey, can you do that ad in the Ad Delight and the shopper?
Well, we could. We're also working.
They might even do it for no cost, maybe because of what it is.
Yeah. We're working with Debbie Foss from the paper as well.
Okay.
She wants to write an article, and then I think some kind of large news stories have come up in the last, you know, couple weeks that I think
Good,
know,
this will get
fell
some
back a
different
bit,
news
but-
in the paper.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So anything we can do to get
Yeah,
the
that's
word
a
out
good
there and get
idea.
more folks to do it.
If
So.
Debbie's listening, oh, she's not. She usually listens to this.
She's usually in on this, yeah. I'll follow up with her in the next day or two as well, just to politely ask where she's thinking at this point with that, so.
The key thing, I think, is just saying, okay, if you're in a group, we're going to do it right now, 5 minutes, because
Yeah, it's
it's
kinda
like,
fun.
oh, I'll do it later, I'll do it later, I'll do it later, and then you never get at it. Just take some time. So now we go to Reed and Petrik Park Playground.
Yes, I'm still talking with people, different companies, different municipalities, other places that, you know, the Rod and Gun, Whitehall Rod and Gun Club, Jeannie, you told me to take a look at them up there. I've reached out to them, still waiting to hear back. I've been struggling a little bit with trying to get quotes that I'll need to present to the committee, because I can't compare apples to apples. That's the problem. So I've been in touch with other places that have recently built playgrounds and have been kind of trying to talk to them about how they went about doing this as far as getting different quotes and things, because, you know, I've literally had quotes come in that were for $375,000 for a playground. And as low as, you know, a used one you could find on Facebook Marketplace, you know. So I'm still working on it. And then obviously since the land acquisition whole thing came up, I've kind of geared towards wondering what's going to happen there, and, you know, as far as the location goes for the playground, like what size do we want to make it? Is it going to stay in the existing spot? There's some pros and cons to that. Or should it, you know, if by chance, you know, we do acquire that land, could it be out there? So just, that's the update on the playground. Not a whole lot has changed since the last meeting.
It sounds like maybe, you know, with the gentleman from DSM, they might be very interested in helping with that.
Yeah, I've got all kinds of ideas of they have all different services. I'm curious to see what they're here to offer. So that'll be good. I'm looking forward to that call.
Okay, then we have a little update on the Petrik Park land acquisition. I don't think there'll be any action, but I did present to property and ask them how to go about this. And now I'm not sure where I put my notes on that. But Reed was there, and so was Rob. And Dan, of course, is on property. But the property committee is not really in favor of pursuing the Elk Rod and Gun Club because they don't see as much use there as the Shank proposition. Am I correct in saying that?
I think so.
Okay. So I think the property committee is kind of saying that we should lean toward the Shank acquisition. And what they need to see is a plan on how we're going to do this. And then my memory is failing. What else are we supposed to do?
Well, I think in regards to the switch with the Elk Rod and Gun Club, the property committee was of the thought that since Eddie Malczewski has basically taken that off the table, it was a non-item. There was no decision that had to be made there because there's no sense in entering into negotiations when the person you need to negotiate with isn't negotiating. So, and they did stress that I think the committee as a whole was in favor of concentrating on the Shank property and going from there.
And I think the piece of it too that was discussed quite a bit is just knowing, like you said, the plan and kind of what the expectations of the, you know, either the sellers or the donators, what their expectations are, so that the county knows what. The word strings attached kept being used, but, you know, not that's necessarily a pejorative thing, but like, yeah, what the, you know, what our obligations will be if we take on the land. So that seemed to be something they brought up quite a bit too.
And after that property committee, I met with Rick Niemeyer, and we'll be setting up a meeting here shortly with Tom and Dan Shank, just to start going over things and see, you know, get more specifics on what they'd like to see in the, you know, in the agreement or, you know, contingencies, that kind of thing. So, and then hopefully we can have something put together and then, you know, present at the following committee meetings this month, so, or next round. So, that's where it's at right now. So I'll be organizing that meeting and trying to get it going this week or next if possible.
Okay. So you'd probably be giving the presentation maybe to property before we meet again in October.
Right, and depending on what the, you know, the Shanks are looking at for those strings, I guess that'll kind of dictate what's going to happen as far as like what that presentation will look like. It may, or it more or less might just be a, you know, it sounded like it was pretty broad on what we could do. From what I hear so far, they just want to see something being done. So there might be just more discussion. Maybe it's the kind of thing where, I don't know if it's the right route to go, but we, you know, get the agreements and everything in place and get, get the transaction moving, and then we can discuss as committees and whatnot, what the actual projects are going to be on the land, so. Just what I'm thinking. I'll be obviously working with Rob and talking with Mike on it quite a bit, and we'll see what we can do there, so.
That's donated, right? Is that the plan, or
Well,
did I not?
It was suggested that they might donate the land,
Okay.
assuming that there was some sort of development
Right.
happening
Okay.
within a certain amount of time period after the
Okay.
transaction.
And it's 6 acres, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
So you think you're gonna use it for camping, or?
Well, the original idea I had was a pond, a swim pond, with beach around it, but that's debatable, whatever we'd like to see. But- What was that, Michelle?
Nothing. An
Oh, there was
accident.
some. Well, the reason why I brought that up is the lack of swimming opportunities in the county, and I think it would bring in a lot more families into the park and maybe get more use out of it throughout the week and more weekends rather than having certain weekends. This year we've had no camping there at all. Also, any place that I've seen where these water features exist, it's just packed all the time, which I guess that's up to the committee to decide the route the park wants to take, if that's the atmosphere we want to have there. But I know the park was originally set up and donated for the education of youth, but I mean, even a conversation Becky and I were having, this past week, maybe it was even yesterday, the number of things we could do with that water feature as far as like, canoe safety, kayak safety, any things like that, and just also having just the presence of more people there, I think will cut down on some of the activity that we don't like to see out there, which appears to be kind of increasing, unfortunately, just because there's less people out there. So just a thought. Like I said, I'm going to go around to some of these other places that have this feature there. They're relatively, compared to an actual swimming pool, they're relatively inexpensive to install and maintain, and they sure attract a lot of people.
Yeah, and they're very nice.
They're very nice.
Eco-friendly as
Yes.
well, so.
Just
And
a
they
little bit of dirt work with a
Right.
liner and an aeration system, and then some floating things for people to jump off in the middle. It's pretty simple.
I know, and it really blends in with the environment. It's not like a big giant cement thing.
Yeah, like a swimming pool wouldn't fit
No.
the style of the park per se. So,
Perfect for our park.
but that's what I originally was thinking of at this time, and I'd like to see that whole overflow area have more activity in it. Eventually, have electricity installed, gravel roads running through it. Obviously, long term here, but so I guess we'll see though what the Shanks are going to, say they'd like to see, or if they have anything specific in mind. So
He was at our last meeting, and I think he liked the idea of some kind of water thing.
I think so. Yeah, he said him and his wife, they walk around quite a bit, and
Right.
there's so many times it's just the park's not being used for anything, and I mean, I could even see on weekends, we could have, if there's a lot of families there with children and whatnot, we could have, maybe, I wouldn't, lack of a better term, seminars, or maybe game wardens show up and show their equipment, or have certain things going on weekends that, hey, 4 o'clock Saturday, we're going to have, this presentation going on, assuming, maybe the class shelter is not being used or rented out, and it'd be something that families and kids could come to. And
I was up north this last week, and there's an area north of where our cabin is, and they were doing a presentation on the rain garden, and it wasn't even as beautiful as ours, and it was smaller, but kids were listening about why rain gardens are important and identifying all the flowers and plants that were there, and
yeah, there's all kinds of things we
And
can
there's
do.
a
Trail walks.
There's a beautiful plaque too, which we might want to think about in the future, identifying what all the plants are and what rain gardens do, and explain to, an explanation of their purpose and how important they are. And it was really kind of cool.
Yeah, that's great. Those are the kind of things we can do out there for sure. But we need something that's gonna bring people there.
Merrick State Park, outside of Fountain City, has I assume they're volunteer group called the Turtles. And for a long time, they hadn't done anything, but when we were there not too long ago, they did a presentation, and the kids loved it. They had, the one guy did fly fishing to teach you how to do fly fishing, but they had fish set up all over the lawn, and the kids could hook them and then drag in their fish, and then they'd go and look at all the different fish, you know, species, and have to match up what their species look like, and then they got to keep the card or whatever. But maybe we need to start thinking about getting a volunteer group where maybe DSM would be interested in doing, you know, just a 1-hour program, you know, every weekend on Saturday evening or something like that.
You know, that was one of the first things too that Mike had suggested to me is, you know, forming some kind of a group, you know, Friends of Petrik Park type of a group or something like that.
Yeah, we talked about doing that a while back. You know, UW Eau Claire students all have to do 30 hours of community service in order to graduate, and you might want to connect like with the geography department or the astronomy and have like during the meteor shower times that happen in November, well, there's a big one in August that just happened, have somebody come out and have kids out there, you know, to explain the constellation and the stars and look. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you could engage students with who need to, and they're always looking for opportunities to do their public service that they have to do before graduation.
I can reach out to them for sure.
Yeah, because those kind of things, they do it along the park in La Crosse, Riverside Park. Oftentimes they have people it's all volunteers. They set up their telescopes and they advertise it, and people can come and the little kids can look through the telescope and see the planets. And, you know, I mean, it's the stars are incredible out there at night. So that would be, you know, and La Crosse is all lit up, so you can't always see everything.
Right.
So stuff like that would be really cool.
For sure, absolutely.
And snatch one of those UW Stephen Point students again that maybe is interested in doing that kind of stuff with kids to be at, you know, to be at the park doing an internship.
Okay, absolutely. I can reach out.
I'm not teaching anymore, so I can help you connect with
That
these
sounds good.
students.
Yeah, perfect.
Anything else on the land acquisition? So security camera update. Evidently, they do work because of the last incident.
They do work, however, they're, well, I shouldn't say they're in the wrong spot. We only have cameras installed on the class shelter. So that's why we weren't able to pick up any like good clear footage or video of the event or the issue that happened.
What happened? I don't want to hear about it, maybe.
Oh, there was a person that was planning on spending a month there for work, and then at their second day when they were at work, they were broken into in their camper.
Oh.
And there was another group there that witnessed it, but they weren't aware that it was a break-in happening. They just assumed they were the owners of the camper.
Okay.
So basically, we had the cameras were running on the class shelter, but we're only just able to pick up blurry images that were zoomed way in from the vehicles that were coming and going during that time.
Oh, crap.
So, but we are going to be having them installed on the bathroom house and then over at the maintenance shed. We're still waiting on those antennas to come in that you approved, I believe, even probably
like
2 meetings ago. Yeah.
Yeah, June, I think.
Yep. So they should be in
Or even May.
any day now. It was late August, early September, so I've been in touch with the gentleman that's installing them, and he's waiting on them. As soon as they come in, we'll get them going, and then we can set them up. So that's the report out there of the security cameras. We're gonna potentially have one, maybe even at the entrance, but at the same time, if we have one just on that bathhouse, just facing right down the driveway, we should be able to get every license plate that comes in. And then I'll be in touch with the sheriff's department as well. If there's a way we can set up a feed for them to be able to view it, I'm sure that can't be too difficult. I don't know, though, it does go through the cell phone plan, though, so we'll have to see what that requires there. Becky, you might know something about that.
Currently, our cell phone cost is $40.25, so you're fine.
So I'll be in touch with them about that, and then I'll keep you posted on the installation of the cameras at the park.
Tremplo lots update. Again, we're waiting.
Again, we're waiting, yep. I called them since the last meeting, and they're saying mid-September now. First it was June, July, then August, and now mid-September, so we'll wait and see. We have a lot of interest for those lots down there. We've been going down there and had the park staff down there maintaining just lawnmowers down there. We must have had a lot of damage down in that area from a storm or whatnot, because there's a lot of trees and branches down in the lots, but the two guys at the park, they cleaned them all up real good, and our trailer should be coming in. Actually, I just received a call from them last week. It should be by the end of this week or next week for the park trailer. So then we'll be using, the county trailer as far as moving the lawnmower around and everything. So, but interest in those lots down there, and I think people are satisfied with what the price is now, and they're looking forward to having electricity in there for sure. So I will be reaching out to the current people that are renting just to see if they want to lease the same ones again for next year.
Do you want to update them on the name?
A name?
Well, basically I wanted to get these on the website, so I was working with IT, and so we kind of brainstormed a name to come up with, and it's 3 Lakes Lots, right? 3 Lakes.
Yeah, I think that was the name of the plat.
We decided to name the 3 Lakes Lots down there, or something like that.
Oh, that's a cool name.
It's something like that. I'd have to look exactly what it is. Becky, do you remember offhand?
Pretty sure that's what it was.
Okay. Tremplo 3 Lakes or something. So if you see that on the website with these pictures on there,
That's what it is?
that are advertising, and then we've got a little write-up on there about how they can reserve the lots. So that's what we have.
And then, Reed, you're going to be
lots.
modifying, there's going to be some modifications maybe of some of the lots.
There is, actually. There's been a lot of requests from people that are interested on the size and how they should be laid out, so I've kind of been looking at all that. And some of them I've moved to have like multiple lots in one area, whereas we had before, whereas some places where we kind of was a little bit tight for 2, I just kind of made it into 1. So, yeah, that's kind of exciting to have those be filling up down there. It's people like going down there in the summertime and just able to leave their camper there and whatnot. And so it's good to see that it's gaining some attention and traction down there.
Then we have the coordinators updates. So who wants to go first?
Oh, I can just hop in first. So I've talked about these things before, but just wanted to bring them up again. Firstly, the sorry, my notes are off here. The $10,000 Main Street Bounce Back grants. We've gotten a lot of inquiries about that, and I've written this so far. I believe it's 3 different acknowledgement letters, and sent a lot more information than that to folks that have reached out. And again, just to remind you, this grant is for folks that want to move into or expand their business into, or start a new business and move it into a vacant downtown space. So the goal is to get vacant downtown buildings filled. So a lot of interest in that. One snags. Some people are seeing, especially if you're someone who wants to start a new business and possibly move into some of these locations, to apply for the grant, you have to have a signed year lease. So you really do have to kind of make the commitment that you're, that you're basically. You have to make the commitment that your business will be in there for a year, right? For some people that are on the fence about whether or not maybe they're starting something new, so there's where there have been some snags, people making sure they've got a lease already in place. So if you're talking to anyone about these grants, that's just one thing to keep in mind. Something else that's important is, current people that have a business, Obviously you can't move your business from one space to another and still get this grant, but if you need more space, if you've got, if let's say you've got a location where you sell your retail items that you make, but now you need more space to make items and you need to move into a spot, well, you can still apply for this grant if you're filling a spot that's currently vacant. So that is ongoing. I was talking to Abby from the MRPPC yesterday. They're administering this, and she's working on a number of Trempealeau County grants right now. So I'm going to keep updated with her. I'm going to keep pushing it. Again, because of the grant reward amount, that's why I think we're getting so much attention to this. And frankly, the application is not complicated. It's pretty cut and dry. It's pretty straightforward. So again, I know everyone in this room represents different municipalities in the area, and of course, there's some municipalities that don't have many vacant buildings, some that have more. Any assistance you can give me in just helping push this program, even if it's just say, hey, contact Rob. He was talking about this grant opportunity. Get them my way, because we really want to try to get as much of this money into the county as possible. But more importantly, whatever we can do to get some of these downtown buildings that are vacant filled, because that just adds to the vibrancy of our local economy. And if someone's driving down the road and they see full buildings and they're a visitor from some other part of the state, it's just one more thing that makes them say, well, this would be a great place for me to live and start a business and that sort of thing. So that's ongoing. Goes basically till the money runs out, or I believe it's June of 2022 that people can apply. So secondly, there is, and we're still getting information on this, but there's a new grant through it's being administered through the Department of Revenue, Wisconsin Department of Revenue, but it is basically a tourism grant. So it's for destination marketing organizations or groups like us that help promote visitors, into the area. So basically, long story short, what the grant is, you can apply for up to 25% of your operating budget, and you can use those monies for marketing purposes once they come in. It's going to be something that I pursue, and hopefully I'm going to be talking with other chamber organizations within Tremplo County, because they would be eligible as well. Some don't have huge budgets, but even a few $1,000s can go. We can be creative and make it work for helping with advertising and that sort of thing. So stay tuned on that. Though by the time we have our next PTED meeting, I will have applied, because the deadline is September 29th for that. So that's coming up relatively quick. And Becky, I'll work with you basically on that as well, so you're up to date on all of that too. Other than that, the color reporting will start soon, believe it or not. So I'm one of the color reporters for Trempealeau County, so I'll be updating that on the state tourism website. And and it's I'm sure all of you have noticed, both anecdotally and just the hard numbers of festivals and things like that this year is showing a lot of folks are coming back and participating in the events that we have here in Trempealeau County. And it's been really incredible to see. I think last time we talked about the fair, they had a record-breaking year. A lot of the town festivals are seeing turnout like they haven't seen in maybe a decade. So is the terms they've used. So we're really excited about that. We're heading into overdrive now with fall tourism. Our summer campaign is just winding up today. Today is the last day of our summer campaign. If you recall, that we've been working with River Travel Media on. We had a meeting last week where we looked at some of the analytics of that. I'm going to put River Travel Media on the agenda for October, just to give kind of an update to the committee as well, so we can just kind of look at some of those numbers. And long story short, it was, in my opinion, and I think the numbers bear this out too, it was a very successful campaign. So, and I think, and this has been one thing that in the little time Mike's been here that he's prioritized to me is showing results, basically showing the analytics that we're not just throwing money at something, but that there's actually we can show people are visiting the website, or we can show people are looking at our social media and that sort of thing. So anyway, I think looking at these numbers, especially getting them together as we go into budget time, because of course I asked for an increase in our marketing budget, will definitely give us a good argument for why these funds are an important investment for the county. So, so yeah, that's basically my report at this time. And as always, as most of you or many of you do, contact me anytime, call or email, that sort of thing. So, yeah.
You're good at responding to texts and calls.
Try to be.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Yeah, as far as the parks go, we had smooth sailing actually for the arts.
Sorry, my mic wasn't on. We had a smooth sailing Ashley for the arts. A couple of minor issues with things getting backed up in the septic system here and there, but other than that, it went pretty smooth. We have one more big weekend left this summer for camping, Labor Day weekend. Obviously,
That's this weekend,
coming
right?
weekend. Yep.
Can I step back to Ashley? How
Sure.
many was there an estimation of how many people were there?
At the park.
No, just in general.
So they had more money this year to give out to the volunteer organizations than ever before, because obviously, you know, it's money raised for that. And again, I haven't seen the official number count, but anecdotally, crowds backed up to areas that I don't think anyone's ever seen.
Right.
Reed, you were saying how basically there's the beer area in the back, and crowds never have been like circled around it because of how far back
I was on
it
the
goes.
Soldiers Walk watching one of the shows on Friday night, and I'd never seen it. And then when the septic pump came, fans pumping or arcade pumping, they said be ready for a waste for 140,000 people.
Wow.
So I don't know I doubt that many people showed up, but
Right.
then again, I don't know, maybe probably not all at one time there, but maybe they had that close to that many wristband sales, I'm not sure.
And law enforcement said they had very little problems. So
Yeah,
it
it
was,
seems like it went
on
pretty
the whole,
good.
it was very, very successful. So yeah, that's good.
They are so well organized at this point. I mean, we all can remember kind of the early days of Ashley for the Arts, and I was working in the jail at the time. It was kind of mayhem, but boy, they've got those kinks worked out now with parking and with just flow of people, and it's just incredible how they organize that. And they'll have, I think, more hard numbers on actual ticket sales at some point for us to talk about too. So.
Well, and it was all, you bought tickets online, correct? So they should
Correct.
know how many, yeah.
And you could buy at the
Good.
door too, I think.
Yeah,
but
I'm so glad it was a beautiful weekend and people were,
Great weather.
people are kind of out of their minds right now, so I'm kind of glad everything went smoothly, so.
I think the paper recorded $635,000 to give away.
Oh.
But I didn't see in the paper the numbers of attendees.
Right.
But yeah, going through Eventbrite, there should be an accurate, well, except for the people who are walk-ins, there should be a pretty accurate account of
Wow,
how many
good.
people, because that would be interesting.
Cool.
But there were no issues at the park?
No issues at the park.
Yay.
Are you getting reservations already for next year?
That comes in at New Year's Eve.
Oh, New Year's Eve it starts? Okay.
You know, I saw more people utilizing the Trempealeau River than ever before.
That weekend, or
there
just
were
in
swarms
general?
of people just sitting in lawn chairs in the river having a good time. So that was kind of cool to see.
I
but-
saw a lot of cars with kayaks, so I.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was a good weekend. I saw people were enjoying the trail system down there too, which that's another update. We do have some of the ramps down there just at this point just to get us to where we need to be to mow those areas and maintain. We're still waiting for lumber to come down a little bit. I know it has come down a lot from what I've been told, but you're still talking $25 for a 10-foot 2x6, so treated. So we're just waiting a little bit on that, but right now we can, we're planning on getting in a couple more this fall. So hopefully it'll continue to drop, and then we can finish up those ramps next year for the trail system. The prairie out there is looking great. We have 7 or 8 new species this year.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
I think last year we saw 18 species that we put in, and then this year add that, so we're probably around mid-20s now. And in the original mix, there's 41, 42 species, so hopefully we see more and more as we come along. There's certain species in there that take 6 years to flower, so been doing fair amount of work out there as far as, Blake, our summer intern here, he did some work out there with targeting, parsnip and non-natives that we have out there, and probably going to get a kill on it later on after the second frost. We've been mowing it too as well. We've been putting in an awful lot of trees this year, like large trees out in that open area, so we can try to get some more shade out there. And then the two park staff, they're watering. That's what they start with every day, is watering maybe half the trees one day and then half the other. Obviously with the drier summer and the sand that we've had out there, although recently we've had good rains. But
yeah, 4.5 inches
yeah.
in my world.
Mm-hmm. So other than that, everything's good at the park. One more big weekend here, and I know last year we did like a fall special.
Yep.
I don't know if we were planning on doing that again this year for camping or not.
Bob brought that up at the last meeting.
Okay.
So I would say if it worked out well last year, we should do it again.
There was a few people that took advantage of it.
And
They
that was
haven't
a
come back to
month?
claim their site, but we can certainly just credit them this
Right.
year. I've got it written down who it was, so.
And we gave a special for a whole month. Was that what it was?
It was 2 months.
2 months.
It was
okay.
October 1st
October
through December 1st.
Okay.
Discounted price.
Discounted
Yeah,
price.
right.
I want to say it was, I'd have to look back, but I want to say it was half price or something. Just
Yeah, I think we should do that again.
Yeah, because people like to be able to just leave their equipment there, or their campers there, rather than haul them from far away every other weekend that they're hunting down there, so.
Maybe they need a Ring doorbell on their door.
Yeah. Yeah.
ADT. Hey, are you still thinking about considering having a park host at the park? People who volunteer, they're non-paid staff, but they bring their camper and stay for the whole summer and kind of monitor everything and check on people and.
For sure, if we start getting more people in there, if something happens with that, the new property, but
Right.
As of now, I guess it would be good to have somebody there. I don't know.
I mean, a lot of people, a lot of national parks do it, state parks
Right.
do it.
It's happened in the past, right? Some of the
Well, well.
Becky, no,
It was discussed.
Those were
No.
employees. Staff.
He lived there, but he was
Yeah.
what was a contracted person?
He was the park manager.
Right. But he did live there, but it wasn't good.
Camper the entire summer.
Yeah.
I don't think Reed wants to move over there.
No. But I think,
Wouldn't be too bad.
there's a lot of retired couples that just need something to do all
Yeah.
summer, and it's a great thing for them. And somebody from even out of state who might want to come to Wisconsin for the summer. Don't forget about it. Think about that.
Sure. I will.
Because I think it makes people feel more comfortable. I know when I've camped by myself out west in the fall, I like knowing there's somebody there all the time,
Right.
and I can know how to get a hold of them. And if you need wood, they help you gather wood or whatever. So it makes people feel a little more comfortable knowing that someone's sleeping there at night. And
Okay. Yeah, definitely something to think about.
And one other thing I wanted to add to Reed, if you're done, Reed, and wanna.
I'm finished, unless anybody else has any more questions about the park.
Were you thinking about applying for the Conservation AIDS grant? I am presenting that tomorrow.
We might as well.
I mean, because if you're going to do boardwalks, that's something that can be put onto Conservation AIDS. So if that's
Yeah.
something,
The only reason I've shied away from the boardwalks is just because of I don't know what the lumber prices are gonna be for that as of right now, but I certainly have just a quick phone call, I can find out.
it's a
'Cause those
50
were all pre-assembled things,
It's a 50/50 match grant, and we can guarantee $1,971. But that's what the county gets, then you'd have to put through that amount, the grant will put through that amount. So like, let's say you spent $4,000, 50/50. So, we can try to get more is what I'll ask for.
Sure.
That's what we always do. But right now, we currently have one project on the docket, and I'd like the committee to look at more than one to decide what they want to do.
Let's talk after the meeting,
Sure.
for sure.
sounds good.
We're going to do lots of talking after the meeting.
Lots of talking.
DSM and Becky and probably Mike.
Oh,
and
I'm
Will.
glad you brought them up, because you might want to talk to them about, maybe they could be the founding fathers of the Friends of Petrik Park. And, we just talked about that and how to organize a group, that they could have to do special things and however that might work. We talked about doing that years ago when we contracted out for someone to manage the park. Because there were at that time a lot of people who were interested in volunteering and doing things, and
Absolutely. Especially with the, you know, the 50th coming up next year.
right, and the
lot of things.
Olsons, there, you know, there's so many people that have an interest in the park and are doing things on their own, but if we had a group that was actually called the Friends of Petrik Parks.
Right.
You have
Sure.
a lot on your plate right now to do today.
Awful lot, yeah. And you know what? It's amazing too, the number of people that have either called or approached me about that 50th anniversary.
Oh.
A lot of them have, you know, asked what's going to happen. They don't notice that it's for next year. So
Oh, they think
assume-
it's coming up
They
this
think it's
year.
coming up in 3-4 weeks here, but.
No, it's in yeah, 2022.
So they're kind of excited about that. So it's nice to see the interest in that.
Right, right.
Yeah, we should start planning on all the activities we're going to do. And maybe it shouldn't be just that weekend, maybe it should be like all year.
Right, I want to bring back a s'mores and more night, because that was totally fun.
Mhm.
Brought my dog, and they had all you guys, you were there? You know, a million different kinds of s'mores that I never dreamed possible to make, so.
Yeah, a lot of sugar was consumed on that.
Yeah, like the.
It's good.
Those
Yes.
Reese's cup, whatever they're
Oh, it's
called.
amazing.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
marshmallows stuffed between 2 graham crackers, those were like,
Mm-hmm.
God. But that was really fun, kids had a blast doing that.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll put that on your agenda, a s'mores and mores night during
For sure.
the week of the, should we make it a week long? We can talk about that later. But.
Yeah.
Reed and I did talk about too, we do want to do just a low-key, but a winter event, and maybe like just a candlelight snowshoe walk
That's
or
a
something
really
like
good
that. You know,
idea.
the Strum Community Trails did that, and I think that's not to say easy, but it would be something we could definitely get organized, which would be a lot of fun. So, I mean,
Perot
if we
does
have
that every
snow,
year.
right? I mean, who knows? But yeah, something we want to get on the calendar too, just to show off those trails for the kind of the winter tourism. Now that goes into the issue of we don't usually have the park open in the winter, but we can figure that out. So, yeah.
You could like make it snowshoe with your dog night, because a lot of people are looking for places to go and do things with their dogs, and you know, lots of times dogs aren't allowed places, but you would bring in a lot of people who want to.
For sure.
You writing all this down?
Becky's writing
I've got it down.
everything
Yeah.
down. And it's also being recorded, so.
Oh, that's right, we're gonna need to clone you, because,
We might need a second
yeah, we might need
Employee.
a second employee.
or
Budget
another
time's coming
part-time.
up. Yeah.
Maybe Reed's going to be full-time and conservation will need to be a part-time. Well, whatever. It's not on the agenda, so.
Look
we'll-
at it.
Maybe next year's agenda.
Conservation is kind of your baby, right?
I like all of it.
Okay.
I like all of it.
Anything else from Robert Reed?
I was going to add that word on the street is, and I guess it is kind of confirmed, that the Whitehall Golf Course has new owners. It is a group of folks who have some background in hospitality, which is really good. 'cause I
Was
think a lot
it
of
closed?
No, never
Oh.
closed, but it's been for sale, and you know, when something like that's for sale, you just never know who's going to hop in. Golf courses are a complicated business, to say the least. Yeah, so it sounds like a good group of folks are going to be coming in there, and I'm sure there'll be more released soon. So that's just great to hear, you know, because actually golf courses, I think, have seen a bit of a resurgence since the pandemic in terms of their numbers too. So would hate to see something change with the one here. So anyway, more will come up with that, I'm sure. But that's just what I was told yesterday by one of the folks who's part of the group that is doing that. So good stuff.
So if you look at your calendars, we're on to number 17, setting the next meeting date. So we're going to skip September and go right to October. The first Tuesday is October 5th, 8:30.
I'll be gone, but that's okay. I'm going to Montana.
October 5th, you said?
October 5th, yep.
I don't know, I had the 6th in my head. Okay.
Should be
Hopefully
fine with
everybody,
me.
it works for you, Michelle?
Yeah.
Okey dokey.
We'll find out. I've got a 7:30 dental appointment. Hopefully I can talk him into kicking me loose so I can make the meeting.
Well, we could make it later.
I can bring employers.
9
could,
o'clock.
Just go
Zoom
live
it.
from your phone, yeah.
Zoom it from the dental chair.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way, I know.
9 o'clock?
Yeah, can we move it to 9 o'clock?
Let's go with staff, yeah.
I do know that end of September, beginning of October is when budget hearings are going to start. So we might have to plan a little bit around that. We might find something a little bit later.
Well, if we can't meet in this room, we could certainly meet in the Wisconsin room, because
Right.
the health committee, or health board is meeting in the Wisconsin room from now on. I mean, that's an evening meeting. They don't want all the traffic all over the whole building in the evening. But, you know, the Wisconsin room is open for meetings, so if we meet on October 5th at 9 o'clock, place to be determined.
I'll shoot for this room. If not, we'll see if we can get the Wisconsin room.
We don't want to lose our high ratings of public watching our meetings.
That's
but-
right.
If it looks like there's not going to be a quorum, you could text me, because I have Zoom on my phone. I
Okay.
could call in from wherever I might be.
All right. Well, it works for me in Arizona. It should work in
I'll
Montana.
be on the road, though. We're heading to Helena, so.
Okay. So it's 9:56. I will adjourn the meeting. We've hit the end of the agenda.
Here, don't leave. I have a question since you're a conservation person.
Thank you all for coming. Thanks, Michelle, for hanging in there.
How do you identify?
You betcha. Glad to.
Algae that's toxic.
Bye-bye.